In this video, we are going to learn how to traverse arrays. Traversing means accessing all the elements of an array or some elements of an array to perform some operation like displaying, sorting, or maybe fetching out some values for further operation. Okay, so let's see how to traverse indexed array. Okay, so here I have created an array which is consisting the names of the programming languages, and I have stored this array inside this variable called languages. So whenever I want to access this array, I can do it using this variable. So here I'm simply echoing out the first element, second and the third element. Now this is the most basic approach. Whenever you want to display any element of an array, one of the approaches is this, to simply echo them out using indexes. We know that the first value is at the index 0, the second value is at the index 1, the third value is at the index 2, and this list goes on. So basically the indexing of an array always starts from 0. So that's why I have given an index 0. So here in this case, PHP will be printed. Now in this case, Java would be printed, and in this case, C++ would be printed onto this. Okay, so this is one way to display an array, or maybe to access an element, access a particular element of an array. The other approach is to use a loop. Okay, using loop, we can traverse through the elements of an array, maybe some or all the elements of the array. Okay, so here I have shown the traversing using for each loop. Now, for each loops are made specifically for arrays. It makes the task much easier. So if I want to traverse all the elements of an array, I can use for each loop. So the syntax says for each, we have to use this keyword, and inside these parentheses, I have passed the variable name inside which my array is residing as value. Now this you have to use a keyword called as, and here I have given a variable value. So what it will do is it will fetch a value at a time. First value php will be stored in this value, in this variable called value, and then I'm printing out this variable. So php will be printed. Next, Java will be stored in this variable, then C++ will be stored. So like this, one by one, all the elements will be printed onto the screen. So this is the easiest way to traverse through a loop using for each loop. Now traversing here means I am accessing all the elements in this case, and we can perform any operation. Here I am displaying all the elements. Maybe we can sort them, or maybe we can use these values for further operations in our program. But here we haven't written any program. This is just for learning, so that's why I have just displayed them out. This is nothing but displaying. Okay, so let's see this in an IDE. Okay, we have PHP tags and PHP. Then here, let's create an array, languages. Okay. And here I'm passing the values here itself. Okay. PHP, then we have Java, then we have Python, have let's plus plus, and then we have, let's say, Ruby. Okay, I have stored 5 values inside this array, but the indexing starts from 0. So basically there are elements from 0 to 4. That means 5 elements. Okay, now I can traverse all these elements using loop. Okay, now we can use any loop. We can even go for while loops, for loops, do while loops, but for each loops are specifically used for arrays. Okay, so that's why I'm using for each loop. Okay, so we will pass here languages. Okay, I will just remove this. Okay. So here we have to give the name of our array. languages, as you have to use this keyword, and here you have to create one more variable. I'm creating value. One by one it will contain all the value. Okay, so I will simply echo out echo dollar value, and we'll just break the line so that every time the element will be printed onto the new line. So I have this. So the syntax is very easy. Okay, we just have to give the array name. Okay, and then we have a variable which will be holding one value at a time, and we are just printing out that value. Okay, so we'll just run in our browser. I'll reload this. So as you can see, first PHP is printed, then Java, Python, C++, Ruby, etc. Okay, so this is the way we can traverse entire array, or maybe we can uh, traverse through some of its elements. Okay, let's say if I only want to print the first two values of an array, then I can simply use echo dollar languages, and I can do that using indexes. So I want to print out the first two values, so I can use indexes. Okay, then secondly I have dollar languages, and I want to print out a value which is at index 1. I'll just break the line. So here PHP and Java will be printed. Okay, PHP and Java, I will just break the line here as well. Okay. So if I want basically some particular elements, then I can use this approach as well. Or maybe we can even use for loops. Okay. But usually when we want to traverse an entire array, we usually go for each loop. So let's now see associative arrays. Okay, so here I have an example. Here I have taken a bit different example. Here I am storing the names of the husband and wife. Okay, so that's why I have used associative array, because if I go for indexed array, it would be a waste of time. Okay, so here I can easily say, okay, this is Zach and his wife is Zara. This Anthony, his wife is Annie. Okay, so in the form of key value pair, this is known as the key. Here, this is key and this is value. Okay, so this is key and this is value. Okay, so I'm just here in this case echoing out, or let's say if I want to echo out particular values, then I can go for indexing. Here we don't pass any index, instead we pass the key value. Okay, if I pass the key value, I will get the value. So this is one way. Okay, here I'm just displaying. We can even use this, and we can even you store this in some other variable and maybe use it for some other operations. But here I'm just performing the operation to display them. Okay, they can be used for many other operations. And then this is one way to access these elements, or basically traverse. But the efficient approach is to go for loops. Now for each loops, so we have a keyword. Here we are passing the name of an array, means this the variable name in which our array is residing. Then we use the keyword as, and here we create two variables. Here I have created two variables, dollar key and dollar value. So this dollar key means key will be stored in this variable, dollar key variable, and the values will be stored inside this variable. Okay, and you have to give out this denotation as well, only then this would work. Otherwise they would not be stored properly, and you won't be able to access the key and the values. Okay, so you have to use this denotation. Okay, so let's see this in an IDE. We will just see it practically so that the concepts becomes more clear. Here I have a name. variable called names, okay, inside which I'm storing all the key value pairs. Okay, so we have Zach, Sarah, have me, Anthony, Annie, we have Raj, and maybe we have Rani. Okay, so for now I'm just taking three values, okay, three key value pairs. Okay, so one way is if I want to, let's say, echo out Zara. Okay, let's say if I want to echo out this value, so then I can use this method. uh, I will just give out the name of that array, and then inside the square brackets I will give the name of that key. Okay, because this key refers to this value. Okay, so in indexed arrays we give indexes, and in key value pairs we give the key. Okay, so I'll just break the line, and then I will simply echo out names. I will echo out Rani in this case. Okay, so it belongs to the key Raj, so I will have to pass Raj as a key. Simply we will say, so I will just run this. Let's see. Okay, so we are getting Zara and Rani. Okay, so it's very easy. Okay, you can access them using keys, or we can have for loops. Okay, so the most efficient approach is to use for each loops. So I'll just write the keyword for each. Inside this, we have to pass the name of an array, names, then as keyword, and then here we will be taking two variables, dollar key. This denotation is mandatory, and then we have dollar value. So these all the keys, that Zach, then Anthony, Raj, all these will be stored in this variable, and all the values Zara, Annie, Rani will be stored in this. Okay, so here I will just say echo. I will say husband is dollar key, because husband is dollar key. Okay, because all the names of the husband is stored in this array, and their wives and his wife is dollar value. Okay, I'll simply break the line here, okay, and just give out the semicolon. So let's see this. We'll just run this. Okay, so husband is Zach and his wife is Zara. Husband is Anthony and his wife is Annie. Husband is Raj and his wife is Rani. Okay, so these loops are the most efficient ways to traverse the entire array. Okay, majority of the times when we are dealing with arrays, we use for each loops because it makes our task much easier. We can even use for loops, while loops, but it is not advisable to use those loops while dealing with arrays. Okay, because this makes our task much easier. Okay, so here we have taken two variables, as we have key and a value, so both will be stored into different variables. Okay, so this is the way to traverse an associative array. Okay, so now let's learn how to traverse a multi-dimensional array. Okay, so here I have directly taken an example. Here I have an array called employees, which is a two-dimensional array. and here I'm storing the name, mobile number and email of my employees. Okay, so this is the details of my first employee, this is the details of my second employee, and like this I can have multiple employees. Okay. Okay, so how to traverse this array? Now it is not that much complicated. Okay, so we'll see this in an IDE, but let's see this part first. Here we have a variable called favorites. Okay, here I have taken a different variable inside which I'm storing the name, mobile number, and email of my basically this can be my friends or my colleagues, anyone. So this is the details of my first friend. This is the details of my second friend. Okay, so here we have two values. Okay, here we have the details of two friends. Let's say now I want to display all these details, then I can go for each loop. But in multi-dimensional arrays, we have to use nested for loops, means loops inside the loop. So I have first this for loop, inside this I have another for loop. Okay, so let's see how the syntax goes. In the first for each loop, I have passed the array variable dollar favorites. Then we have a keyword as, here I have dollar I, and then we have dollar values, another variable. Now why this? Okay, now this is at an index 0. We all know that array indexing starts from 0, so this entire array is at an index 0. This entire array is at an index 1. Similarly, we can have multiple arrays which will be at indexes 2, 3, and the list will go on. But the indexing starts from 0. Okay, so this dollar I will hold this index. So basically it will tell which array we are currently using, means either this using indexes. Okay, and values means what all properties it has, whatever properties, so these are known as its properties. So these are all its values. Okay, so basically index and its values. So this is at an index 0, and these three are its values. And here I'm simply echoing out dollar I. So in this case, we will be getting 0 and 1. Okay. And here we have another for loop which is used for displaying these key value pairs. Okay, so I am passing here dollar values. Why? Dollar values as dollar key and dollar value. Now once I know that, okay, now I'm dealing with this array. So that's why this is at the index 0, and this belongs to this. Okay. So I'm passing here dollar values. Okay. And here I'm simply echoing out dollar key and dollar value. Okay. So theoretically, it might look a bit complicated, but let's see in an IDE, we will practically learn it. Okay, so let's say I'm creating PHP tags. We have the name of the variable, let's say favorites, array. Inside this, I will be taking two more arrays. Uh, names, name will be the way func. I'm simply taking some random. Okay, so here it should be this. Then we have mobile number, and then we have email, the way func at the rate. Then we will just put a colon, sorry, we will just put a comma, and then we will create another array. which will contain the details of another employee. Have name Monty Smith, then mobile number. Okay, we don't have to give out semicolon. Okay, I always forget to give out the comma. Okay, so with comma and then have email, which is Monty Smith at the rate mail.com. Okay, we will give out the comma. Okay, so this is my array. Okay, now what I have to do is I will just print out for each loop. Here I will be requiring two. So first I will pass the name of this array, which is dollar favorites. Okay. Then we have a keyword as, then I have dollar I and dollar value. Now why this? Okay, we will be seeing all this stuff. Okay. Now we have another for loop. If first we will just print out echo dollar I, and here we will be taking another for loop dollar values. Dollar values means basically we are into this section now. Okay, I forgot to put them in quotes. Okay, we have to put them inside the quotes. Now these all values I have. Now from this value, what key and what value we want to print all the three. So we will say as dollar key and dollar value. Okay, so basically this section is saying me which array we are handling. Okay, this is at the 0th index, this is at the first index. Okay, so first we will be dealing with this. So dollar I will contain the value 0 and these are all its values. So from this values we have to print out all the key and a value. So one by one this will be printed, then this and this. Okay, so I will just say echo dollar key and then dollar value, and we'll just break the line as well. Okay, so now let's run this code. Hooray, it's working. See, as you can see, 0 and 1 is printed. Why? Because I have echoed out dollar I. Means first this is at the index 0 and then this is at the index 1. And values means it will be containing all these values. It will be containing all these values. So from this first we will be getting this key and this value. Okay, so like this I have displayed all these. Okay, so for traversing multi-dimensional arrays, we go for nested for each loops. We can even go for loops, but as I said, it would make our task much complicated. So that's why I have taught using for each. Okay, so in this video, it was all about traversing. So we saw how to traverse indexed arrays, associative arrays, and multi-dimensional arrays. And traversing basically means we are accessing all the elements and we can perform whatever operation with those values. We can simply display them out, we can sort them, we can do various other operations as well. Okay, so this was all about traversing. Thank you.